Well, hi everybody. It's Joe Rayo and Joe Chaffee on the Joe and Joe Weather Show. You're up there.
I'm up where?
You're above me today on the
Oh,
screen.
really?
Yeah,
I don't have my YouTube link up, so I don't see that at the moment. But
but you
it's nice
will.
to. Well, hi.
Hi. I don't know. I did it by accident, and then I just thought, you know what, we could do this a little differently. So you'll be up there,
All
and
right.
and I'll be down here, and that will be that. So
Okay.
here we are on January 19th, 2021, which means it was 43 years ago, right, Joe?
That's right.
January 19th,
43.
1978. We could take a
I
look
know
at that.
exactly what you're alluding to. Now, I remember that night well. Huh. I'm sure a few other people remember that night well who were working at 30 Rockefeller Plaza back then.
Yes, when they started with
Oh,
this snow quickly changing over to rain, no accumulation.
oh God.
12 to 18 inches later,
Oh my God. What a
and
what a night that was.
it was. But it's 43 years later, and the weather tonight is entirely different. And that weather is, of course, brought to you by our friends at Omni True Value Hardware, Long Island's largest rock salt provider and a provider of everything you need to get through any winter storms should they come our way. It's 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, just north of the Southern State Parkway. And very important here, folks, this is a local business on Long Island, family owned business. And these days, of course, with everything that's going on, support your local businesses when you can. 631-756-1125 for the best prices in town. OmniTrueValue.com. So, before we even talk about the what was the first of two, actually, it was the third storm in a series that particular week. And I
Right.
don't, I don't think I have the maps to go back that far, but the first one was on the Friday. If I remember correctly, the first one was on the Friday before, which was a snow to. That's when Long Island got one of their worst ice storms they ever had. It went to the temperature went to 31. The ground temperature never got above freezing anywhere, and there was icing and damage and power outages and all the rest of it. And then there was another one. The second one came, I believe it was on Tuesday, the following Tuesday, that left several to 6 inches in some places. And then the Coupe de Grace, or the Coupe de Gracie, was the one from the end of that week on the 19th. If I remember, was that on a Friday night, Joe, or a Thursday night?
It was a Thursday night.
It's a Thursday
Thursday
night.
night, and it carried over into Friday morning. And the thing I remember about that particular storm is watching the great Alan Casper at on the 11 o'clock CBS News, Channel 2 News, alerting us to the fact that the precipitation had gone over to ice and sleet down in Atlantic City. But already we had had up where I live, Joe, something like 6 to 8 inches of snow, and it was still
Yep.
coming down like a bat out of you know what.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
no, that was something. And then we all woke up the next morning. That, as I recall, that was the first snow day for the schools since 1969.
yeah,
We had not had a snow day
right.
uh, since '69. That so it was a long, long time between drinks at the well. So uh, folks folks around here. That was also the first above normal snowfall winter in since '69. So it was like seven in a row, 7 winters in a row where New York City had below normal snowfall,
Right.
as
Now, what
as I
I'm doing,
recall.
Joe, while you're talking, what I'm doing is I've gone on the daily weather map site, the NOAA library map site, to get those three storms for you. Incidentally, for those of you who have tried this on the NOAA Central Library, the NOAA site where you can get all these maps dating back to 1871. And I've noticed this too, due to browser FTP depreciation in Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox, you may not be able to access NOAA Central Library resources hosted on the library website. Try using another browser such as Internet Explorer or Safari if you encounter such issues. So what I'm doing right now is I'm using a different browser. I was unable to get these maps using
The old ones.
the Google Chrome, and I believe I'm going to be successful here. It says open file, and oh, so stupid of me. I had it going. I had it using Deja Vu, and or Deja Vu, and I should have had it coming our way through PDF. So you just keep on talking. I'll get these maps eventually. And then
Okay, I already turned on the share screen for you. Let me just start off by thanking New York Jets fan 1991 Cody for hitting Super Chat tonight. He says, Joe and Joe, God bless you guys for all the hard work you do. We're the best meteorologists in the world. Oh my, thank you. In the world, he says.
I'm not going to argue with that.
It is a pleasure to be here with both of you and everyone in our weather family. Thank you very much. Very generous of you and very kind of you to say, by the way. 41 likes so far, so another 59 to go to get us to the magic 100. If you like the show, if you like the live stream, hit the like button. Also, if you are new to the channel, welcome aboard, and be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel with your Gmail account. And this way you get notified every time we do a live stream, which is most weeks we do at least 5 live streams a week, Monday through Thursday. Then Joe and I, if there's no weather going on, we tend to take Friday and Saturday off, and then we come back on Sunday morning for our Sunday morning Joe and Joe weather show, where you can grab your coffee, your tea, and your breakfast and put yourself in front of the screen and get caught up on all the goings on. So that storm was something else. It really was. That was that first one, because of the fact that it just was such a surprise. We were still in the day where you got a lot of weather surprises. We don't, when you think about it, we really don't get a whole lot of weather surprises anymore. Not on that scale. And I remember the initial forecast, listening to it on NOAA weather on the NOAA weather radio was for rain, possibly beginning as snow or sleet. And as the snow began to accumulate, the Weather Service had to update their forecast virtually every hour. So it became snow accumulating up to an inch or so before changing to rain. Then it was 1 to 2 inches. Then it was 2 to 4 inches. Then it was 4 to 6, 6 to 8, and on it went until we wound up the next morning. Well, it finally did change over to drizzle at the end, but not before there was about 18 inches on the ground. But it was just such a it was one of those things. You went to bed and you knew what was at that point. You kind of knew that it was probably going to snow all night. But to wake up the next morning to see all that snow on the ground, and it was also, Joe, I also remember about that. There was not that much wind with that particular system. It was it just went on and on. It just snowed. Big flakes just kept on going and going and going.
And going and going. By the way, yes. I'm trying to share the screen. It said that you've disabled that.
Yeah, you should be able to.
It says host disabled participant screen.
Oh, wait, hold on. Try it again.
All right. Oh, there we go. And here we go. Share. How's that?
How does that there look? It is. Yes.
You can see it. All right. So this is Monday the 9th. I don't know what the heck that is. That kicked off that week. Yeah, Monday the 9th.
Yeah, it must have been. It must have been a big rain event.
Tuesday the 10th. Here is, if my memory serves me correct, that ice storm was on a weekend. So if we continue here, this might be the beginnings of it. This was right. It would be the Thursday.
Yeah, right. It would be that Thursday. I think it was that Friday. It was Friday going into Saturday.
And here's that cold high that's out ahead of it. And here's now Friday, the 13th. Yeah, that was a Friday the 13th. Remember, high pressure continuing to just, have a leg across the northeastern states. Here comes the storm, and here you go. This is that Saturday morning, January 14th. And look, you still have a vestige of that high, that cold high from James Bay across to Quebec and the Gaspé Peninsula. The storm pretty much is right on top of us, maybe just east of Toms River, New Jersey. And this is the system, the first of the three, that brought, as Joe mentioned, icy conditions, ice and sleet and slick and treacherous conditions all over Long Island, especially. And then we got to Sunday, the 12th. The storm is
By the way,
now
if you look,
moved
you
up
can
and
you can
away.
see the upper air. How the upper air is so much different from what we have right now.
Look at this thing, just like, you know, if that isn't a full latitude trough, I don't know what is.
Right.
And also tilting in a negative fashion. All right, so that's the first
The first
of
one.
the three storms. So let me get rid of that. And screen sharing has stopped. All right, so I'm going to share the next screen if I can find it. Hang on. So where? Oh,
Did you lose it?
Joe, I may have lost the other two, the other two storms. Maybe I have to reload or something. Yeah, probably that's good. Well, at least you saw the ice storm. Let me see if I can
Yeah.
get.
You try
I
and
mean,
you go ahead and reload it. In the meantime, I will. I'll do some. I'll do some weta, some current weta.
okay.
Okay. So
All right.
let's get going. We'll get going with that. Okay, so there you go. So let's start off. First off, it's another day where there really isn't a whole lot happening from the standpoint of watches and warnings across the U.S. at the moment. We still do have some lake effect snow warnings up for the east shores of Lake Ontario and the shores along Lake Erie, where it's been snowing, pretty much nonstop for the last couple of days. And we have some winter storm warnings that continue in parts of northern New Mexico and southwest Colorado, with a few advisories around that. Big wind in California, a lot of wind advisories and high wind warnings up and down the Sierra Nevadas, and also in Nevada, and still a couple of pockets of high wind warnings in southeastern Wyoming and in a few counties up in Montana. But we have not had for a while now one of these. I mentioned this yesterday. Uh, Usually, at least a couple of times during each winter month, you're going to have one storm where you see a whole bunch of warnings in the west, and maybe it just kind of moves along, and suddenly it's in the plains or in the plains and Rockies, and then you see a whole bunch of warnings there, and then they spread up to areas in the eastern part of the United States, be it New England or the Great Lakes or the Ohio Valley, or sometimes even in the Mid-Atlantic states. But no, it's just been the way this pattern has been very, very quiet, and obviously we've seen, we haven't seen a whole lot in the way of precipitation for the month so far. We are looking at WPC's. Let's just update this. WPC's latest liquid precip forecast map for the next 7 days. Now, this takes us to Tuesday night of next week, and they're indicating a quarter to a half an inch of liquid for Pennsylvania to southern New England. And then you can see the heavier amounts down in Virginia, and particularly heavy amounts across the Gulf states, the central Gulf states, away from the coast, where we're looking at several inches or more. The Southwest getting heavy liquid precip in Arizona, Southern California, up the Sierra Nevadas, and also up the West Coast on the order of up about 1 to 3 inches over the next week or so. Dry in the central Rockies, dry up in the northern plains, and just some precip around the Great Lakes. You're seeing those big amounts on the lake shores and of Ontario and Erie. That continues to be as a result of the lake effect that is going on. Now we do have for tomorrow morning. We have one of these upper troughs that's coming through. I'm going to pull up the latest HRRR model. And but by the way, just let me know when you're ready. and
I'm
I'll
all
switch.
set whenever you.
All right, so let me just run through this HRRR model, because we do have a weather front that's coming through, and you can see the snow that gets generated. Another round of heavy snow around Lake Erie in southwestern New York and on the east shores of Lake Ontario during tonight. And then we're going to have this patch of snow shower activity. I don't know, Joe. I don't think this, to me, if there were an Arctic air mass coming in behind this, we probably, with the trough, which is reasonably sharp, but if it was more of an Arctic air mass coming in behind it, we probably would be talking about maybe a good line of snow squalls coming through tomorrow. I don't think it's going to
Right,
be that. I think it's just going to be some scattered snow showers, maybe even hard to believe with the upper atmosphere so cold that it's actually showing rain showers over in the mix there over Long Island. But it is what it is. And then low pressure develops offshore, and then it'll turn windy tomorrow afternoon, and the sun will come back out, and weather conditions should improve from there. But we don't have that real Arctic push coming in on the backside of this, so I'm not really overly. I'm not enthused about the idea that there could be a squall with a surprise and where somebody winds up with a coating to an inch or so. I'm thinking that's probably not going to happen.
actually, I looked at some of the discussions out of Albany and New York City, and they're talking about, a tenth of an inch of moisture with this overall. But then both forecasters who wrote the discussion said, but then on the other hand, you might have one of these isolated, and they mentioned that there may be in some places a quickie half inch from a heavier dose of snow. So I mean, like, here's the story. What I said for tomorrow is when you wake up or when the sun is coming up tomorrow around 7 o'clock in the morning or thereabouts, it could very well be flaking. You might have some snow flurries or snow showers around, and you may have on and off snow showers and flurries as the front or the trough or whatever you want to call it comes on by around 10 or 11 o'clock. In the afternoon, two things I think are going to happen. Number one, all the snow is going to end, or flurry activity is going to end, or snow shower activity will end. The sun will be breaking out. It'll get brighter and clearer as the afternoon wears on. And also in the afternoon, the winds will kick up. The winds will probably kick up out of the northwest with gusts maybe over 30 miles an hour. So it'll be kind of a cloudy, dreary, snowflakey kind of morning, a brighter, sunnier, and a far more brisk afternoon. And again, it'll be turning colder, although the real cold will wait until tomorrow night and on Thursday to move in. But there you go. You may get a cheap thrill tomorrow if you're a snow lover during the first half of the day. As I mentioned yesterday, that isn't confetti out your window on Inauguration Day. It's probably going to be scattered snow showers and flurries.
You should be able to go ahead. You want to try to let me make
Yes,
sure it didn't
yes.
turn
And
off.
and the
Yeah, you're
interesting thing,
good.
now the interesting thing about this is on this set is you can see on the top there. Uh, this must be from somebody's private collection.
Joe, I'm sorry. Just do
Because
me unshare the screen for 1 second.
unshare the
Unshare the
screen for
screen for
one.
1 second.
All right, hang on. I'm gonna
Just bring us
gotta go
back.
back and where are you? All right, stop share. Voila.
Okay. Now go ahead and share the screen.
All right. This is all technology, folks, being brought to you.
I want to be able to
Great.
make sure it's centered, so I couldn't see it the other way. That's fine.
All
Okay,
right.
good.
Okay. So notice at the top here, like I said, this must have come from somebody's private collection because in a lot of cases, in some of the really big storms, you see whoever owned this collection would write on the front page. And here it says two big snowstorms, Ohio Valley 16, 17, Northeast, late 19th through early 21st. So, and actually, between the 21st and the blizzard of 78, which was on February 6th, the Ohio Valley got slammed with an incredible blizzard on the 25th, but that's not in this 7-day collection here. So here you see the storm that apparently brought significant snow to the Ohio Valley on the 16th. This also brought snow to our area, as Joe mentioned, on January 17th and 18th. This storm that you see here, which started on the 16th down over the Tennessee River Valley. And by the 17th, it worked its way all the way up to our area. This started off as snow, and a pretty good snow, I might add, but eventually enough mild air came in and changed it all to rain. I think I had about 4 inches of snow, and we were really beginning to roll, Joe. And then all of a sudden, within an hour or two, it went straight over from snow over to rain, and just became one sloppy mess on Wednesday, the 18th of January, 1978. And then on the 19th of January, here we go with a storm in the central Gulf of Mexico. The center of the high was over the plain states, but notice, if you will, how that ridge stretched all the way out into upstate New York. And the forecasts that the National Weather Service and a lot of private forecasters were using suggested that eventually enough mild air was going to come in ahead of this storm system to change the precipitation quickly over to rain from the initial shot of snow. So this is Thursday, the 19th, 1978, Thursday morning. The next morning, which is the 20th of January, 1978, a Friday, look at what happened. We had this high sitting over Quebec, Canada, the Gaspé Peninsula, a cold high pressure system. Remember, the center was here, and I said that it ridged or stretched out this way. Well, guess what? It not only stretched out, it kind of became stronger as it stretched out into the northeastern United States and eastern Canada. Here comes the storm up along the eastern seaboard, running into all of that cold air, and there you see the result, a storm which never really changed over to snow, changed over to rain. It stayed mostly snow, changed to rain or drizzle at the very end. But not before we had 15 to maybe in some cases 18 or 20 inches of snow that descended upon the tri-state area. And I got to tell you something, that snow was a heavy, heavy snow. And I know for a fact it was because at my house on Huntington Avenue in Throgs Neck, it was my grandparents' house originally, and they bought it in 1961. They had an awning over the front porch. Well, this snow was so heavy that it collapsed that awning, and it came very close to causing serious injury. We had a paper boy. I think it was, his name was Sam, or Sammy, we called him. Sammy Iacovone was his name. Sammy Iacovone comes up to deliver the Daily News.
Great name.
Get this, 15 or 16 inches of heavy, wet snow. He comes up the stairs. He rings the doorbell. I open it. I couldn't believe that he was delivering the paper in this kind of weather. He gives me the Daily News. I say, bye, see you later. Goes down the steps. 1 minute later, the whole awning came crashing down on my porch. If that kid had been where he was delivering the paper, that would have been it. I don't know if he would have had a very serious injury. God only knows, he might have died.
God forbid.
All of this heavy wet snow. God forbid. So it was incredible.
Well, you reminded me because I had two paper routes. I had a Daily News route in the morning, and then I'd go to school, and I'd come home, and then I did the New York Post in the afternoon.
Right.
Also in Throgs Neck.
Right. 21st of January, the day after the storm is retreating, and it left behind still all that snow, which was tough to get rid of, again, because of the heavy consistency of the snow, and also a lot of people who were really PO'd by the forecasters, especially the National Weather Service, who were warning us of heavy rain and floods, and instead it all ended up, with a heavy dose of snow. The most debilitating snow since, as you mentioned, Joe, 1969, the Lindsay snowstorm.
And a week later, it was washed away by a Cleveland blizzard, and then we moved on from there to what then we were not knowing after this first. We were happy enough just to get the one, and then we wound up with the bonus with the blizzard of '78 in early February. So.
And look at the upper air, the closed low over Minnesota, and it was a negatively tilted trough that extended all the way a long wave trough that extended all the way off the southeast coastline of the United States, and the coastal storm was right about here. And
You had
there you go.
a colder look in Canada too, which really helped with the upper
Right,
low there that
right.
was sitting in the Davis Strait. So it's a lot different. You know, right now we have that big block over there. So yeah, so it lined up. It lined up quite nicely for that. But like I said, we don't get those surprises anymore. I'm kind of thankful that we don't get those kind of surprises anymore. But um, I can't imagine what would happen if something like that happened now, where we wound up with a 20-inch snowfall when everybody was forecasting rain. The way the way things are with social media and everything else,
And
that would not play well.
you know, that happened more often than not back in the day when you'd start off calling for 2 or 3 inches, then you wind up upping, and you wind up eventually with something like 12 to 18. Indeed, it does not happen too often anymore.
Nope.
But that was something, and you're absolutely right. We had gone so long without seeing a significant or just a substantial amount of snow like that, and we figured, okay, we shot our load, we got it, we got everything back that we lost over the last almost 10 years. And who would have thought that 17 days later, we ended up with a storm that was even bigger in terms of snow accumulation, and a lot worse because, unlike this storm where the snow came straight down, the second storm, the blizzard of 78, was truly a blizzard with tremendous winds, tremendous drifts. And there were some places in the Northeast, places in Rhode Island that had like 40 or 50 inches of snow.
Oh yeah, it
We
was
only
nuts.
said we only had what, about 20 to 25 out of
Right.
that.
Well, I brought up the Europeans so we could take a look at this whole problem for next week, because I have to tell you, I still don't have a clue as to how this is all going to play out. Uh, with all these players that are involved, front and center, of course, you've got the big blocking high sitting over Greenland, and that's not going anywhere. And then you have, and by the way, this scheme, we've been talking about the negative East Pacific oscillation. Well, this is what it looks like, because the EPO is actually going is negative right now, and you have that ridge that's up just off the west coast. So you have this flow coming down from Western Canada that's bringing colder air. Now, Joe, I'm going to loop this, and I don't remember ever seeing something like this, maybe mainly because you don't get blocking highs like this that often. But first off, this is tomorrow morning, and this is the upper trough that's coming through tomorrow morning that's going to produce the snow showers. I can't believe we're displaying so much excitement over this, but that's the upper trough that is coming through. And then, of course, there's still a series of these that are running by here that are going to continue to come through for Thursday, and then finally the last one will move off on Friday. But Joe, watch in Western Canada, because see this upper low that's between Great Slave Lake and Lake Winnipeg, right there.
Yeah,
This one
yeah,
over here, okay? So I'm
right.
gonna go backwards, all right? So just to show you, just the evolution of it. So there's this low in Great Slave Lake. Now, normally, if this were a normal atmosphere, you would probably expect that upper low to either continue to drop southeast and then turn eastward, or maybe it would do something with that western trough. I don't think I've ever seen him go backwards in that position. But look at that. It goes backwards. It goes back up northwestward. Uh,
It retrogresses.
yeah, and that's because of the block. The blocking
Yeah.
high. I mean, this thing is really powerful, this upper high. It's driving everything, the clockwise flow around it. So the upper low, and instead of dropping down, and you would think it would probably want to go to the Great Lakes, it actually retrogrades back northwestward, which is just really bizarre. And this is, by the way, by the time we get to the middle of next week. Now, the issue here for these, models have been kind of trying to show either, two systems coming out next week. I'm not really overly impressed by the first one, um, but we'll see what comes out of it. you still have this issue of room because you see that upper low over Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. That's out there. Uh, you 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 know that trough for Monday, for later Monday night into Tuesday, is this little kink in the flow right in here. Okay, and then of course you've got this deeper trough that's out in the southwest that is right behind it. Now the European today and the GFS from earlier, uh, keeping these two streams. You do have a bit of a northern stream there, and then you've got this thing kind of moving along to the south. And with the block up to the north, I would still think that the path of least resistance for this would be to get suppressed to the south. And then, of course, here's another, the second one, and you can see that upper low that's in Illinois, and that's for Thursday into Friday, that pushes eastward. What that does, I don't know. The block at this point, by the way, has weakened quite a bit. So I don't know what, I also don't know what the European did after this, although I've been told by those who have access to the longer range that the blocky pattern remains, so that upper high probably starts, it weakens and then probably starts building back up. The GFS today sort of followed this path along on the earlier run. And if you remember, I said yesterday, folks, that you're going to keep seeing this go back and forth until the model figures out just exactly how much blocking will we or won't we have. And on the earlier run, I'm sorry, I'm just having a little bit of a time getting these maps to load quickly. So I'm just going to run this backwards. But here on the earlier run, you sort of see the GFS kind of following the European along with a lead system for Monday into Tuesday. It's hard to find there on the upper air. It's not the most well-defined system in the world. And then another one comes out, and you can see that trough there in Indiana that heads towards the mid-Atlantic coast. And the Canadian, by the way, made a nice little storm out of this. But I have to tell you, Joe, I don't know about you. I have very little confidence going forward in terms of what may or may not happen here, because there's just too much going on. That, and add to that this big blocking high, and you can see that the GFS really starts to weaken that high, which is key here. You got to have that block's got to weaken a bit, otherwise this thing's going to get suppressed way to the south. So I don't know at this point. I don't know what's going to happen here next week.
Well, the European, I can tell you from what I was able to see for the Tuesday storm, has just about all of it passing on underneath us to our south.
Right.
Kind of like a near
as
miss or a
opposed
glancing,
and then
the best you can do.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And the best you can do from this as a vantage point out is just simply say, well, we'll keep an eye on Tuesday, but it could very well miss us, and anything beyond that, who knows?
Yeah, I don't think we're any closer today than we were yesterday or the day before in figuring this out. And I'm thinking that we may have to wait until Thursday or Friday to get even a decent handle on what may or may not happen. And the other thing is on the GFS on the 18Z run, which I know the in-between runs you're not a big fan of, and right now I'm not a big fan of them either. One of the big difference, it's back to taking a low up to Western New York. And the reason why it does that is because, we talked about that retrograding low, that upper low, and you see it here on Sunday, sitting, right near Lake Winnipeg. Well, it retrogrades back, but the GFS, for whatever reason, stretches a piece out. You see that little finger that suddenly you have an upper low that forms north of Lake Huron. And what it does is it basically takes that lead shortwave and kind of hooks it up with that upper low, which is why you wind up on this run with a track that took a low up into Western New York. I still think that it also is weakening that upper high very quickly, which may be wrong. So there's a lot of things about that 18Z run that I find suspicious, and I would just toss it at this point and just wait for the 0Z and see if it goes back in the other direction, which is what it did yesterday. It just basically flipped back in the other direction. So that's kind of where my head's at with this. I'm trying not to spend too much energy now in case it's required later on.
But wait a minute, amazing Jostradamus.
What?
Oh, you said you can't look far into the future like you normally would do.
No, 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 no. I'm not doing that. This block has really kind of set my brain back as far as trying to, figure out or at least get a feeling for things in the longer term. We can tell you that at least after these snow showers tomorrow morning, and if we wind up maybe with another snow shower, Thursday night or Friday or wherever, it's basically dry and cold right through the weekend. And then you see on this one, the 18Z run, you see how the low, all of a sudden it decides to want to take a lows back. The lows back goes to southern Michigan. How in the name of God, the only way that happens is if you get that really bizarre scenario that this model did today, where it stretches out an upper low in the northern stream and picks up this whole southern system and pulls it northward. That'd be the only way it happens, and the block on the GFS weakens. But again, I'm very suspicious of this. And then, of course, there's another system. You see it there on Tuesday. That winds up getting squashed to the south, and then there's a third one behind that one, and that one winds up getting squashed. And I will tell you, Joe, by the way, that the parallel GFS with the third one actually takes it southeast, but intensifies it. So it gave. I was looking at the snow amounts. I'm still down in North Georgia. It gave me 13 inches.
Wow,
In fact, I think I
that's
saved.
amazing.
I think I saved the map. This is the surface map here from Pivotal Weather, and you can see where it is here. This is on 1 a.m. on Thursday the 28th. All that dark blue in northern Georgia down to Atlanta, most of interior South Carolina and western North Carolina with 1,004 low southeast of Charleston. And of course, you've got a 43 high north of Lake Superior, and cold air that's on a northeast flow coming down the eastern seaboard. So the
That would
parallel.
be the ultimate in irony, Joe, that you move down to North Georgia, you get 13 inches, and meanwhile all of us is like sitting up here twiddling our thumbs.
Well, look, if there's even a remote chance of me seeing a major snowfall here, I was actually planning to drive back either Sunday or Monday of this weekend, so either Sunday or Monday. But if it's going to wind up that I'm going to see more snow down here, I may just stay an extra week just to see this.
Did you bring a snow shovel with you?
Yes. And our friendly neighborhood teleconnections today, the NAO actually does go positive as we get toward February 1st. It is going up to the neutral line. So, that rise again, telling you that there are some changes going on, which is why next week probably looks more active. The AO actually also spikes up to the neutral line around the same time. So that would be supportive of something happening someplace in the United States of importance. And even the PNA bottoms out and then spikes up toward the neutral line toward the very last days of the month of January. So teleconnections are changing again, which means that the profile of the upper pattern is probably going to shift around a bit. But I would be suspicious about that NAO going positive because of the fact that it's been so persistent. Oh, and by the way, let's bring up Europe, because it is they're getting snow. Let's roll this back. They were getting a lot of snow in Ireland and England, and I want to just see what it looks like on the GFS. And of course, they're getting it because of the block as well. But take a look at this. Okay, so we're back to hour 6. But yeah, I mean, there's snow, and cold air is actually coming down around from the Arctic, from the northeast of those two islands, and then coming around this low that's sitting over Norway and Sweden and sweeping in from the northwest. And you can see the areas of snow moving into Ireland and England over the next several days. And I'll bring up their snowfall forecast map because I can't really bring up ours. It's not going to show anything. So, yeah, I mean, not too shabby there, Joe, with snowfall amounts. throughout much of Europe in the next 16 days, and
I should
into.
actually, I should actually talk to somebody, and I've been communicating with a gentleman in Ireland, believe it or not, over the last week or so. I wrote a I wrote up a technical paper, Joe, for one of the astronomy journals. And when you write a technical paper, the journal will say it has to be vetted. We have to show it to somebody,
Right, peer
a
reviewed.
scientist, to look at it, peer review, exactly. And my reviewer lives in Ireland, Dr. David Asher, and we've been going back and forth over the last week, exchanging correspondence as to what to change in the paper or what to alter and anything else. But he lives in Ireland, so next time I talk to him, or next time I correspond with him, which could be tonight or tomorrow, or whatever, I should ask him, how's the weather over your way? Is it cold enough for you? Is it flaky enough for you, or whatever? Because it looks like, from what you've just shown us, that they're getting a heck of a lot more winter weather there as opposed to what we're seeing over here.
Yeah, that they are. Well, that's where all the cold all the cold went. With the vortex split, it went into Europe, it went into Asia, and it went into East Asia in particular, China, Japan, et cetera, et cetera. So some years that's what happens, and some years it's in North America, and you just have to you play the cards you're dealt with. So let's play. Speaking of playing, it's time for Briller Jeopardy. The chairman left the questions yesterday in honor of our Inauguration Day, and today, Joe, is part 2 of Inauguration Day.
Before you get into that, I've been monitoring the chat board. Number one, we had a troll, Joe, or maybe several trolls.
Oh, lovely.
Because we have 13 dislikes tonight.
I'm not losing sleep over this.
One of them was named Argo, but thankfully, Mr. Veltman and some of the other moderators have kicked him and the others completely off now, so we don't have to worry about them anymore. The other thing is that a couple of people said that I sounded terrible.
Yes.
That they couldn't hear either one of us all that well.
Really?
Meanwhile, others are saying, like, I don't know. They sound fine to me.
Your audio is, if anything, your audio is actually maybe a little bit hot. So you might not want to take it. You might have to take it down a peg or two.
All right.
Okay.
Well, but still, like, somebody, I forget who it was, said that I sounded terrible. Couldn't even hear me tonight.
No, I mean,
So I don't know.
I'm hearing you fine, and your levels are okay on my end, but your audio is a little hot because I can hear I don't know how the audio people describe it when your voice is hot, a little, let's call it maybe a little tinny.
All right.
Okay.
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 All right.
So we'll fix this. We'll fix this. Okay, so let's do a little Briller Jeopardy. I don't know why they shouldn't be able to hear me. I'm here. See, I'm here. 2121-7777.
Samada Mott says I have no sound.
You have.
Then she says, Samada Mott then said I have no picture. So I don't know what the heck is going on with Samada Mott tonight.
Oh well, that she could see us at all is just probably a fluke. just like the snow in Boston in December.
Yes.
Because it never snows in Boston in December. But that's another argument for another day.
Inauguration Jeopardy, right? Part 2.
The chat's running at 100 miles an hour, folks. Sometimes we have technical problems, and so apologize. I mean, that's basically the best I can do.
Peter Bicker says I sound distorted.
Yeah, but, it could be any one of a number of different things. I'll have to just check the video afterward.
On the other hand, Enrique Lopez says Joe Rao has the dulcet tones of all-time classic radio TV announcer.
All right, let's do Briller Jeopardy here. So with the new president for tomorrow, there are now 4 presidents with the last name beginning with the letter B. Can you name the other 3?
4 presidents with the last name D.
No, B. B is in boy.
B. Okay. So let's see. Who do we have in recent years, the Truman and Eisenhower, no, Kennedy, Nixon, Carter. Well, it doesn't sound like anybody in the recent history. Lincoln,
Keep going.
uh,
Reagan. Who came after Reagan?
Reagan, and who came after Bush?
Yes.
Two Bushes,
Two
actually.
Bushes. So you got two
Yeah,
Bushes, and who's the other B?
the other B, the other B, Coolidge and Roosevelt
I'll
and
I'll 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 I'll, th- I'll throw you a hint. You may or may not
uh,
know this, but he was our only bachelor president.
Buchanan.
Yes, Buchanan, right, James Buchanan,
Yeah,
who then changed his name to Edgar Buchanan and went on to star in Petticoat Junction. Just in case you didn't know that. Okay, so what letter? And all he did was sit around and look at his nieces
right.
uh, in bathing suits. Coming out. You know, Joe, they used to swim in the town water tank for Christ's sake.
Correct.
They swam in people's drinking water.
And even brought the dog in with them.
Yes. So question two: what letter of the alphabet do the most presidents' last name begin with? And I will tell you, I'll tell you, there are two letters because there's a tie.
Jeez, it almost sounds like I'm playing Wheel of Fortune now. I'm trying to pick the light. You know, are they vowels or consonants?
Well, no, they're vowels.
um, I don't know. J.
Last names.
Yeah, Jefferson, Jackson.
Okay, but it's
Uh,
not J.
it's not J.
Okay.
Well, it can't be W. We don't. There have been too many Washingtons, and uh, I don't. Well, how about B? We just had
Um,
Buchanan.
hang on. By the way, I just realized there may be a YouTube problem tonight because I'm getting I just noticed that the data just kind of shut off on me, so that might be the reason why we're having some issues. So let me just wrap this up really quick. So it's H for William Henry Harrison, Benjamin Harrison, Warren G. Harding, Rutherford B. Hayes, and Herbert Hoover. And the other letter is the letter T for William Howard Taft. Um, was it James Tyler?
No, I don't think it was James Tyler.
What's Tyler's first name?
William Tyler?
No, I forget. Well, Harry S. Truman, Donald Trump, and Taylor were the T's. And by the way, the bonus question tonight is bonus question. What does the S in
John
Harry?
Tyler.
What is it?
It was John
John
Tyler,
John Tyler.
then President of the United States.
What does the S in Harry stand for in Harry S. Truman?
It doesn't stand for anything.
Correct. And the president
Right.
the only president to serve two non-consecutive terms.
Was, I think, Cleveland,
Grover
right?
Cleveland, yes.
Number 20. He was number 22 and number 24.
Correct. So there you
Okay.
have
So,
it. All
right.
right, New York Jets fan, 1991. Cody, thanks for hitting super chat tonight. Really appreciate it, folks. My apologies for the technical issues. Out of my hands. I think this was a YouTube issue. I was having trouble hooking up a connection with YouTube this evening, and I finally was able to do it. So, well, hopefully tomorrow things will be a bit better. So we'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks for being here. And 119 likes. So at least we got over 100 likes. Good night,
Yeah.
everybody.
Nighty night. Thanks for knocking the trolls off, Tim, and the
Yes.
rest of the moderators. Yes.
Yes. Good night.